Yeah, I was having such a good day today too. And then I get in my car, I turn on the radio, and I find out that my Boston Bruins have extended General Manager Don Sweeney for another 2 seasons. Welcome in, everybody. This is Pucks from the Pine Tree Pod. I'm your host, Benjamin Kennedy. Thank you so much for joining me here again this evening. Of course, we are awaiting puck drop here, game one of the Eastern Conference Final, the Florida Panthers and the Carolina Hurricanes. Should be a heck of a series. Of course, I just previewed both conference finals last night. If you haven't checked out that video, it is out here on the internet, so go check that one out as well. Boston Bruins fans, how in the world are we feeling today? How many windows have we broken? How many tears have we cried? Um, I'm going to go on record right now and say I don't like this. I don't like it. I'm not surprised by this. I am not surprised by this. Jacobs and Neely and Sweeney are all very tied to the hip. We know this. Quite honestly, I would have been surprised if he wasn't extended. Going back to the presser from a month ago, end of season, you kind of thought, oh, Neely didn't really give him a big vote of confidence, but here we are. I'm frustrated as a Bruins fan, and this is me as a fan, not as a borderline objective, podcast host. I'm frustrated. I just I feel like a new direction has been needed for the organization for a few years now, and here we are. Though it's not going to change. Um, I don't think it's going to change until the Jacobs, sells the team, and I don't think that's happening anytime soon either. Yes, apologists here will tell you, well, look at all the regular season success. Look at all the winning. Look at all the playoff runs. 2019, you're one game away. Great. Who were the players on those teams? You had Patrice Bergeron. You had David Krejci. You had Brad Marchand. You had Chara, Tuukka Rask, Kevin Miller. Sean Thornton going back. How many of those did Don Sweeney actually draft? None. That whole team and all the success, a lot of the success. Yes, I know he was putting the rest of the team together, but the core of that team were not draftees by Don Sweeney. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I think he gets a lot of credit for these years. I also think he probably gets a lot of crap he doesn't deserve too, right? It hasn't been all bad. So instead of just sitting here and taking pop shots at the organization, I want to actually get some facts here on the board. How has the draft record really been? Let's forget about 2015. We'll talk about it a little bit, but everybody harkens back to 2015. And it wasn't all horrible, despite how bad that first round was. But what's the track record been like for Don Sweeney and the Boston Bruins? We're going to take a real quick look at this, guys. And before we do, of course, if Cam Neely were sitting here next to me, he would want me to preface everybody that, oh, hey, we've been picking late in all these rounds. We've traded a lot of draft picks, going all in, and this and that. Yes, Cam, we know, we get it, we understand that. But how has it landed? How have we done with what we've been given in this draft or in these drafts over these past 9, 10 years? So I do have it up here on the board, of course. As we know, Sweeney was given the GM role back in May 2015. And in that time, the Boston Bruins have had 58 selections in the NHL Draft. Of those 58, 9 have come in the first round, 8 have come in the second round, 6 in the third round, 8 in the fourth round, 7 in the fifth round, and 10 apiece in both the sixth and seventh rounds. Of those 58 selections, 13 have played 100 or more NHL games. That's a 22% clip. Of the 58, 6 have crossed over 200 NHL games. That's good for 10.3%. I haven't looked at all the records and numbers and around the league to know if those percentages are good or bad. I don't think they're good. They don't feel good to me. 13 out of 58. Yes, this is including 2023 and 2024, so we know that those numbers could get better as those guys start to develop. But that's where the numbers are, guys. That's what we're looking at here over the past 10 years. Of course, 0 top 10 selections. That will change this year with the number 7 selection. I laugh so much because, here we are as the Boston Bruins this year trying to be bad here at the end of the year, right? They trade everybody away, trying desperately to get as high up in that draft as possible. And you suck at that too. You suck at that too. You actually lose draft position. You had the fifth best chance at the number 1 draft selection, and you end up number 7, of course, with New York Islanders and Utah jumping over us. But it's like you're even bad at trying to be bad, man. Like it's just you just can't make this stuff up anymore, right? Listen, all joking aside, there have been some highlights. There have been some good selections. I don't want to lose sight of that. You go back to 2015. Listen, we know DeBrusque is gone. Good draft pick, though, right? I mean, picked 14th overall, 547 games, 314 points. Yes, he's out in Vancouver now, but of the 3 first rounders, obviously that was the best one. And then we also forget that in the second round of that year, Brandon Carlo was selected, number 37 overall. So very good selection there. 637 games for him, been a steady Eddie, of course, no longer with the organization either. But we harp and harp and harp on the first round, but Carlo was a really good second round selection in that draft. Of course, we all remember 2016. Thankfully, Charlie McAvoy selected at number 14 overall, Trent Frederick at 29, and also Ryan Lindgren, second round, 49th overall. Turned out to be a very good defenseman, a lot of years with the New York Rangers. So some really good things happened there. And some things that, yes, I will tip my cap to Don Sweeney on. Overall, good job. Jeremy Swayman, of course, was a 4th round selection in 2017. I think we can all agree, despite the year he had, however you feel about the guy right now, he is a damn good goaltender. He's going to bounce back. I have a lot of confidence in Jeremy moving forward. But he was picked 111. So very, very good find for the Boston Bruins. Of course, that same year, it was Euro Vakanainen who was the first overall pick for the Bruins. I say first overall, first round selection, number 18 overall for the organization. And of course, he was a big part of the Hampus Lindholm trade coming back. So the team did a good job of utilizing that pick and getting something of real value. Of course, we had to give up a first rounder along with Vakanainen to get Hampus, but Hampus has been good here. He's got to get healthy. He's going to be fine. 2018, not a lot to talk about there. Lauko was a selection in the 3rd round of note, 139 games for him. 2019, of course, Johnny Beecher was selected, 30th overall, 130 games for him. 2020, Mason Lohrei, 2nd round selection, 58 overall, very good find. Lohrei was pushed up the lineup this year, played a lot more games than we could have expected. Obviously, all the injuries. Good learning for him, I hope. He wished that learning could have happened in Providence. Just making too many mistakes, too many times, pinching up when he should be falling back. Hopefully this was a good learning process for him, and I love his talent. I think there's a ton of upside there. He definitely flashed opportunities or had opportunities this year to flash some of his offensive brilliance, some of his skating, some of his stick work. Really, really great to see that. Let's just, he's a little bit of clay right now. Let's hopefully mold him into a really, really good defenseman that can have some offensive push. Still questions going into 2021 about Fabian Lysell. Of course, he's been the big name there. He was a 21st overall selection that year, has only played in 12 games, of course, all this year for the Boston Bruins, 3 points in those 12 games. Yeah, I mean, where's his trade value at this point? I mean, I just don't know if he's going to be a guy that makes it. Of course, he was a hot prospect a couple years back. A lot of talk about, do we trade him? Do we not? Do we try to package him with something to get a big time player? I just don't know if the rest of the league looks at him as a viable prospect at this point. 2022, though, I think there are a couple of players we can talk about. As we know, Matty Patra, one of those guys, 2nd round selection, 54th overall, played in 66 games. I think Matty's going to be very good. I think he has a high ceiling here as well. Maybe not Patrice Bergeron, but I think he can be a good, maybe 2nd, 3rd line center for you. He spoke up a little bit. We know that. In the 4th round, though, in 2022, pick 119, Dan Luckmelis picked. This kid, I think we're pretty excited about. Only played 6 games at Providence so far, still a young guy, but had 12 points in those 6 games. So I think there's something to be excited about there. And then later in that draft, in the fifth round, pick 132, Frederick Brunet, young defenseman, was picked there. He's played in 117 games in Providence, 37 points. I think there's some reason to be excited about him as well. Um, yeah, so again, yes, a lot of misses. I'm not a big fan of these numbers here. I don't think those, if we looked at the NHL overall, and I have to do a little more homework on that, but I don't think those numbers are going to rate very well. And yes, Cam, I can already hear your voice. Yes, I know. I know we've picked late in a lot of these rounds and second and third rounds and things like that, but hasn't been great. Hasn't been great. And now we are sitting on the number 7 overall pick this year. There are some really good names out there. I think we should end up with somebody good. I just hope we don't screw it up. So, Bruins fans or anybody else, please leave those comments down below. How are you feeling today? Do we need to have a crisis hotline up here? Maybe I should have that as my ticker today. 1-800, number to call if you're frustrated by the re-signing of Don Sweeney. Yeah, we will see how this plays out. I'm worried it's just going to be more of the same. That's my worry. But anyways, would love to hear from you guys on this. Please have a great night tonight. Enjoy the hockey game. Of course, the Western Conference Finals kicking off tomorrow night as well. So both series will get off and running. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening today. As always, if you do like what you're hearing, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button down below. Do appreciate it. And until next time, everybody, be kind, show love, and God bless.